really good morning to you, Valentina. So take us back to that morning, please, of the 24th of February 2022. What did you wake up to?
Well, it's as vivid to me right now as it was that day when it was happening. It was around 4 or 5 in the morning, and there was a very loud explosion. And the moment I woke up from that, I think I immediately understood what had happened. And I think for me, as for most Ukrainians, in that one instant, the entire paradigm of our existence shifted, because suddenly our reality that we knew became one of survival. But more importantly, we didn't know if we would have a reality and a tomorrow. And that's the kind of world we have been living in for the past year, where every time you go to sleep in Ukraine, you don't know if you'll wake up the next morning. And every time you walk down the street and hear air sirens, you don't know if the next bombing is going to be on you. And one part of me is sad that it is almost normal to me to live like this, and it is normal to so many Ukrainians. The fact that when you hear air sirens, when you hear about an explosion, something inside of you doesn't react anymore, because you're so used to living in fear of death. But I think I'm also incredibly encouraged that a year on, all of that terror and fear that this monster attempted to inflict on us has not only not stopped us, but we are as bold and as convinced in building our own future as we were then.
It's a very difficult thing. It's very difficult for us to imagine what that is like if you haven't been through it. However, what strikes me from what you say is terror does two things. It either freezes you or it motivates you. And what seems remarkable is the way that, I mean, and through the president, has to be said, who seems to have led from the front, this has motivated Ukrainian people in a way which has astounded the world, actually, the determination of the Ukrainians.
You know, the thing about what effect terror has on people, and you are entirely correct that there are only two options, either motivation or paralysis. That effect is dependent on what do you as a person stand for. Because if you see something beyond you that is more important, again, values such as freedom and liberty and caring about the nation around you, then there is really only one choice, and that's standing for that. But if you are a people who are only concerned with themselves, with their own comforts, then that terror turns into paralysis. And I think Ukraine and Russia are the two examples of what terror can do.
You're studying here in London at the moment, aren't you? What are you making of the support from the UK to Ukraine?
Well, for me personally, I'm very humbled by how much, not just the British government, but I think the British people themselves care and are willing to keep supporting and keep believing in Ukraine. Even walking through London and seeing so many Ukrainian flags just in people's homes, that, to me, that is such an important symbol that the British people understand what this is about, that it's not about strategy or politics or geopolitics. It's about something basic like freedom and human dignity. And Britain, from the very start, stood out to Ukraine and to the world as, I think, leading the stand against Russia and saying, we're going to stand with Ukraine. And I think the British government is continuing that. But I think in that spirit, it is absolutely crucial that we don't limit ourselves in the aid and the support we're able to provide to Ukraine, because everything that we do not provide right now is something we will have to fight for later in the future.